St. Thomas's Hospital. And where I was training at the time, I was living in northwest London at Belsize Park.
Yeah.
But where I was training in Brixton, in a gym in Brixton. So when I was driving in it, so when I drove to the gym, after I finished training in the evening, when I was coming back home, I'd stop off in it because I was passing that area. So I'd stop off at St. Thomas's, go and see her. Me and my sisters were there, we'd have a little talk or whatever like that, see her, and then I'd go home. And I was doing that pretty much nearly every day. Or many days I was like, stop, I'd go, because I was in the gym and it's on my way back. It's nothing to stop, see mum, you know what I mean, see how she's doing. The day she passed, the evening she passed, I'd left the gym and I'll be honest, I was just a bit tired. I don't know, that evening. I just thought, let me just go straight home, innit? Like, I can't be bothered to. But then on the way, I thought, you know what? I'm going to pass through. Yeah? I'm passing through. When I got, I'm coming from Brixton, and I was going through, like, I was going to go through, from like Oval, down Kennington and go over the bridge and go to, when I got there, police had blocked off the road, like some big, and I was like, wow, like, so the police guy was saying, where you going? I said, I'm going to see my mum at St. Thomas's, but I do live in Northwest, so I need to go through here to go over there. He goes, bruv, he said, you're not going to be able to, he goes, we can't let you through. He goes, you can try another way. So I thought, okay, no problem. I'll go down to Kennington, down to Elephant and Castle and go that way. Get to Elephant and Castle, same thing. Like, I'm talking like the whole thing's taped, there's police cars.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, so I've told the police guy's going, I said, I'm telling the guy, listen, I live Northwest, but I need to get to go and see my mum anyway to think. The guy's gone, you ain't got no chance. I said, so how am I going to get to Northwest then? He goes, your best bet, you're going to have to go over, you're going to have to go through over like London Bridge and go through like East London and go through like City area and go through that way. And I'm thinking, you got to be joking me. He's like, yeah. He goes, that's. And true say that there was enough traffic on the road, innit? So by the time I'm trying to go through there, but by the time I've got to a place where I could slip in to get into thing, the meeting hours in the hospital was gone because it was like 10 o'clock. After 10 o'clock, they used to kick us all out. I used to remember like 10 o'clock, everyone's got to go. So I was like, there's no point. You know what I mean? Let me just go home, innit? So I went straight home. And that night, got a call about, I remember I was on the computer and I got a call. It must have been about like just before 12 o'clock, like for my sister, and she was on tears. And the moment I just heard the tears, I knew, like she said, like she goes, mum's gone, basically. Just got a phone from the hospital saying that she's passed. I was like, whoa. So obviously went down there and, you know, did what we had to do. So coming back to this reading this woman's doing for me now. Yeah. I'm standing at the window with the phone. So I said, so she goes, yeah, you're right. And then she goes, okay, are you ready now? I said, yeah, I'm ready. She goes, okay. She goes, sit down. And I said to her, I wasn't sitting down, I was standing up. But because I was in a bit of a impatient, a bit anxious, I said, yeah. I just like, kind of just rubbed it off. I goes, yeah, I'm sitting down. She goes, no, you're not. How you know that if I'm sitting down or not? You know what I'm trying to say? She goes, no, you're not sitting down. She goes, go sit down. And I was like, okay. So that kind of sparked me at first because I'm thinking, how the hell you know that I'm not sitting down? Like, so okay, I went and sat down. And when I sat down, the moment as my bum hit because I sat down on my bed, I was in a bed sit. I sat down. As I sat down on the bed, she went, okay, you're sitting down. She goes, right. She goes, the first message I've got for you is from your mum. Okay? She goes, because you see that night that I couldn't get to go to the hospital, after she passed, for some reason, I just felt guilty. It was on my mind, like I should have gone that night. I should have tried and walked there or something like that. You know what I'm trying to say? I just felt guilty on that. And she goes, the message is from your mum. She said, like, stop worrying and stop feeling guilty that you did not make it to the hospital that night. She goes, and then she said, your mum told me to tell you that I blocked the roads. She said, I blocked the roads. She goes, I purposely blocked the roads because I didn't want you to come and see me in that last thing. And I was like, what? She goes, I did that. I blocked the roads. So, because I'm thinking to myself, how the hell are you blocking roads, mum? She goes, I blocked the roads. So she goes, stop feeling guilty. So when she said that, bruv, when I tell you that I was melting on the bed.
Yeah.
Even if I wasn't sitting down, definitely I would have sat down after that. There would be no two ways about it. Because I'm thinking, how the hell on earth did you know that? You know, and then she, you know, and then she just started singing, started giving me the reading and stuff like that. And then she said to me, she goes, yeah, like towards the end, she goes, your career, in terms of your career, your work, she goes, I'm seeing you standing in front of like many people, hundreds of people, giving talks. So in my mind now, I'm thinking to myself, I'm trying to make, she goes, I'm seeing you giving talks. And I'm thinking, giving talks? Like, nah, man, like. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe she's seen me and become the heavyweight champion of the world through the boxing, and man's like holding press conference. So that's how I'm seeing it in my mind. Like, oh, maybe that's what she's seeing. Like, she's seeing, like, you know what I mean? And she's like, no, like, I'm seeing you. She goes, and then she goes, you're doing like some spiritual kind of work and stuff like that. And I'm like, nah, man, like, come on, man. What's this spiritual thing again? It's coming up again. You know what I mean? And she's like, yeah, I'm seeing you, like, you're giving hundreds of talks, lecturing and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, all right, cool. Good reading. But I'm not too sure about the standing up in front of hundreds of people giving talks. But she was bang on the money.
Little did you know, innit? Yeah, man.
Yeah, exactly. And that's when that was like, now that's just before all that, the whole thing with Clive started teaching in the stores at a shop. That was like just like the build up to it. And it was actually funny. There was one weekend when I was doing a talk, I was doing some talk at Sister Rosanna's shop. And as I was standing there, my mind just went to what she said. Like, oh, you're going to be standing up doing the talks. And I thought, shit. Like, I think this might be it, you know. Like, this might be the beginning of this shit. This is what she's talking about. Like, and for some reason, because I remember I was talking and I kind of went into a bit of a daze. Like, it's almost like I was like a bit, you know what I'm trying to say? I think even someone said, oh, you're right, Israel, or something like that. For just a second, I just kind of like blacked out a bit, like, shit. Like, it's almost like a sort of realization hit me, like, this is it now. This is your calling. And it was interesting even with the boxing because it just, like, even where I was living, actually, in Northwest London, one of my best friends, we're still best buddies today, Talks. He lived downstairs, I was living upstairs. He knew me, like, every morning I was on the road running. Like, I didn't miss a morning. Like, he knew me. Like, even sometimes he used to laugh after me, like, oh, you're always training, you train too much, you're running too much, you know what I'm trying to say? I was still, like, and it just came, like, there was just one day, you know, when I was just not interested in boxing, bro. Like, the gym bag, like, never, like, my gym bag was on, like, every day, boom, I'm down in the gym. It's like, for some reason, it's like, I just did not have no interest in it no more.
Gosh. And this is all around the same time, yeah?
Yeah. I didn't want to go gym no more. Yeah, just stopped. Even to the man, like, even the man in the gym was like, "Are you all right, bruv? Like, I ain't seen you in a week or two." Man, like, man knows that you're there all the time. Like, you know what I mean? You're the first one in the gym. You're the last one to leave. Like, man's like, "Are you all right? Are you injured? Are you like?" And I'm like, "No, I'm good." But you know what I mean? Thinking, like, leaving it alone. And that was that. So that 2005 was really like a huge transition for me, kind of thing.
I get it.
And then I started listening to the Bobby Hemmitt tapes. And And then Bobby Hemmett, and where you got me, you know how Bobby Hemmett is like, he's like, yeah, go get the book, you know, I'm trying to say. And then like when he said, like, listening to one of his lectures, can't remember which one it was, but he says, he goes, yeah, you guys believe the devil's some evil demon underneath the ground and you're scared of him. And then he goes, yeah, go get the book, Saturn, A New Look at the Old Devil by Liz Greene.
Yeah.
Because he always used to like make reference to that book. And I was like, right, Saturn, you know what I mean? 2 twos now, went into Sister Rosanna's. What book's lying there? Saturn. Oh, look at the look. I was like, okay, let me check out this book. But it's an astrology book. Because the way he was saying it, I thought it was just like a book that was just showing you how the devil is or whatever. I didn't know it was an astrology book. He didn't say that. But he said, like, you know, so I'm thinking, well, what's that? So I picked up this book now. So 2 twos now, I'm reading the book. She's talking about Saturn and Saturn returns and wherever Saturn is in your chart and stuff like that. And then maybe I'm thinking, Saturn, what's all the Saturn stuff? Where's Saturn in my chart? So I'm starting to figure it out now. And I'm like, so I'm starting to read the book. I'm looking at my chart and thinking, oh man, Saturn in Gemini, rotten. My girl's on point. Reading through this book now. Whoa, like, okay, I've got to look up this woman. Like, who's this woman?
Yeah.
And I remember one weekend I was just like, I was on the internet, I was Googling or whatever, researching her name. Bang. In about something, it was my birthday. It's my birthday and it landed on a weekend. And I was thinking to myself, what am I going to do this weekend for my birthday? And I said, I'm going to look for a course to jump on or whatever. And bang, her name came up and she was doing a weekend tarot course that weekend. Liz Greene and Juliet Sharman. And I thought, right, on it.
Why not?
Signed up, turn up there now. Boom, I've walked in, see this lady, you know, because she's short, really kind of like, you know, little like slim, skinny lady, you know what I'm trying to say? Walked in and she's just sitting there and I'm like, and I remember like people were coming in because I got there early and there's quite a few of us and we were sitting down. And I remember I was sitting down to one lady from Argentina and I was like, so is that Liz Greene? And she was like, yeah, that's her. And I was like, oh, okay, seen. Like, oh, that's her for real, yeah? Because she just quiet, just thing. And then boom, she just broke out with the tarot now and started saying about the mythology of the tarot and about how they're all linked with astrology and how they've linked. And because she'd had a deck that she'd made as well. And she's saying, she was telling about her journey and how she came to start linking the tarot with the myths. She said that as she said, I picked the Greek myths specifically because, not because they're necessarily better, but because in the West, people are much more affiliated with Greek mythology than, let's say, maybe Egyptian mythology or Hindu mythology or maybe certain South American mythology. So she goes, that's why I picked that. And she goes, apart from that anyway, she goes, I'm quite well versed in Greek mythology as well. She goes, I'm very well versed in all of the mythologies, but Greek is my strongest part. So she made that clear. But even throughout the day, she was making references to like, oh, in Egypt, Rev Teter, this is the equivalent of. So I'm seeing that, all this shit's linked together. This stuff's the same. You know what I'm trying to say? Like all this, and she's linking it together, and then she's giving us references of books to get, where, and she gave the reference of Joseph Campbell.
Okay.
The hero of 1,000 faces. And she's like, yeah, making that, and she's coming from a more psychological perspective as well, and she's putting the psychology in with the tarot cards also as well. That weekend blew my mind. And I was like, wow. And then I remember asking at the end, I goes, oh, what do you do in the astrology? She said, yeah, man's got astrology courses running. Like, there's going to be one, the next one's going to be like the next, you know what I mean, next term or whatever. There's nothing at the moment, at this precise moment, but, you know, if you jump on the next one. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, you know, I'm on that. And it was quite interesting because then I of course, I was doing this thing with the, like the the conscious stuff with like the Bobby Hemmett's, the Phil Valentines, all that look kind of thing.
Mm.
And then one day, one of my friends, Napoleon, his name is, I checked this one out. He rings me up. He goes, yo, Israel. I met him at a Kabbalah workshop.
Mm.
We did one Kabbalah workshop, again, in Finchley. And we did one Kabbalah workshop, and we did one Kabbalah meditation. And bruv, we went into meditation, and the guy was guiding us through the meditation, and the blinds started, no windows were open, bruv. We were in a closed room, and the thing started shaking. And when we came out of the meditation, man said, Leon was like, did you hear that? Like, man, this shit's real. Like, me and him were really cool. Like, his name was Leon. And man, he rang me up one day and he goes, Israel, you know Liz Greene's got the course on, innit? Because I'd kind of forgotten about it a bit. And I was like, oh, really? He goes, yeah, bruv. We need to jump on this thing. Like, she's starting, but it wasn't her who was starting it. What it was is, because she had a school called CPA, and she had like, basically there was like 5-6 teachers that were teaching in the school. So basically, depending what level you came on, you know what I mean? But she was holding classes as well, and we could go to those classes as well, but they were a little bit more advanced. You know what I'm trying to say? So that's how it was. But he was saying like, listen, let's jump on this beginners thing and jump on that. So I was like, okay, cool. So that's where my journey of astrology kind of started. So that was like 2006, you know. So I jumped on this thing now. Boom, was lacing it, just. But what was funny was Leon, he did like the first 2. I think he just did like the first 2 terms. That was it. You know what I mean? And I remember I came to the class one day, and I like one of the ladies were like, "Where's Leon? Like, man, he's not coming no more." You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you seem to be coming. I said, "Yeah, man. I don't know. His man's dropped out." But what was funny is like he's the one who, you know what I'm trying to say, it was him who pushed me or kind of got me to come there. And I was like, and I said that to her, I said to the teacher, I goes, if it weren't for him, actually, I probably wouldn't be here, because I kind of just kind of lost track of things or whatever. And he was like, yeah, like,
he played his role, man. He played his role.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, get you through the doors. Yeah, man.
And then, so I finished up the first year, which was the foundation course. And then I wanted to go into the senior one, and that's where the Liz Greene, that's where she was really. And I remember, like, we went after we'd finished, that the teacher said, "Oh, come, we can go down the pub or whatever and have a little drink or whatever." So we was having a little drink down there, and we were talking. And I remember him saying, like, "Oh, because if you want to go on to the advanced one, you have to write a letter. Like, you have to fill in an application form, and then you have to write a letter as to why that you what's your you know, what's your interest, what are you looking to do with it." So you write the letter, and boom. And I'd written the letter, and then the week later we'd gone down the pub. So we were down the pub now, we were drinking, and the teacher now said to me, he goes, "Oh yeah, Liz Greene, she said that I should tell you that she remembers you when you came to the tarot class a couple of years back." And I was like, "Oh really?" She goes, yeah. She goes, "Yeah." She said to tell you that she remembers you, and she said like, "Yeah, like, it's cool, innit? You can jump on the advanced one."
Nice.
When you said about the letter, I was like, right, what, were certain people getting? She was like, yeah, certain man getting rejected, bro. Like you weren't like any Tom, Dick, and Harry can just jump on this course. Like, this is like the real deal. You know what I mean? And I remember her saying, like, yeah, she goes, she remembers you. Like, you came to the tarot. You know what I'm trying to say? And
wicked.
Yeah, like, she goes, she remembers you, because there was a part I remember, like, when I was in the tarot workshop, she said something about, I can't remember specifically, but she said something about a particular card, and she was lining it up with a particular. And I remember I was like saying, I was coming up because I was still on. I had that Bobby Hemmett Valentine's. So I was like, yeah, but man in Kemet, that's Tahuti, innit? Like, and we kind of had it wasn't like ferocious or anything, but we kind of had this little it looked like there was a bit of a disagreement kind of thing. Like she was trying to say like, no, that there's a link, but it's not exactly like that. And you know what I mean, but I'm like, yeah, no, that's Tahuti and so she remembered me like from that, like, you know what I mean? Because she remembers you, like she's saying, yeah, like you're on it, like yeah, bring it on. And like when I just jumped on the advanced, laced it. It was actually a 3-year course. I did it in 2 years, and like ready for the world. And that from then, like just been dealing with the astrology, dealing with the tarot, like running workshops, classes. You know, started my own school. You know, doing online classes up until today, and like this is where the journey has brought me in. So there's been lots of different schools of thought, ideologies, beliefs, truths, you know, along the way. You know what I mean? Certain things have changed, certain things have had to change. You know, that, you know, think this it was one way, but it's not, and it's gone another. Thought it was this, you know what I'm trying to say? So reality perspective has been changing along the way, and I will continue for it to be like that as well.
Yeah, that's growth, isn't it? That's growth, man. That's how
exactly.
That's how it really goes, man.
You know,
come to find out, you know.
And then doing, you know, worked with you yourself again. You know, being involved in a lot of the projects again. Obviously, bringing like Bobby Hemmett over. You know, you were responsible for bringing Bobby Hemmett over, and bringing over Phil Valentine as well, Sister Rosanna. I can't remember his name. The guy, the Ifa, the one from the one you brought over from. Never, he was from the,
Elliot.
Elliot.
Santero and Palero.
Yeah.
You
know, when you brought him over as well, you know, I was thinking about it the other day, mine ran across him, I was like, you know what I mean? But, you know, just all this, you know, and then again, it's made me kind of go back again to the Nigeria, to the ancestry, looking at the Ifa system as well, you know, trying to scrutinize that for what it really is, what, you know, what it's really about. Because again, for us in the West, I think the thing is, one of the things for me is like, for us in the where I'm having not necessarily issues, but for me, I'm getting an understanding, like for us, a lot of us who are born in the Western world, whether it be England, UK, America, we're coming into a certain consciousness or a certain awakening, but we're having also a kind of viewpoint of how we're viewing the other side, the Eastern worlds, the Africa, places like that, and we're having a certain viewpoint, and we have to be careful. I think for a lot of us, we're projecting.
I got it, bro.
What we think or what we feel Africa should be like, or was like.
As you were saying it, it's like, yeah, we fantasize. You know, I've been there. I know many have been there. And when you go there and you go through it, you realize, okay, it's not exactly how
it's not yet.
It's like, oh shit, what have I been looking at? What have I been saying?
Yeah, exactly.
What have I been teaching? What have I been sharing? You need to, like, you need to go back and really.
And you got to go back. So I think there's that. I mean, even just the other day, somebody sent me a thing, and it was called African Spirituality, and you know, and at the bottom, the sister wrote, if we had this approach, if Black people had this approach more in the West, we wouldn't be, you know, in the situation that we find ourselves in. And it was quite interesting because she and I looked at it, because normally I was like, oh God, another video, you know what I'm trying to say? Everyone's sending videos, everyone's an expert on everything, just like this, you know what I mean? Too many chiefs, not enough Indians, you know what I mean? But I thought, okay, let me watch it. But it was quite interesting to see, like, there was like 5 people on the panel, and they were all talking about different aspects of spirituality. Now, I'm not against the being spiritual or finding your way, but what for me jumped out was that all 5 of them, and it's no disrespect, I'm not having a go, none of them were born on the African continent, and none of them actually maybe were raised in those schools of thought that they were pushing. And I'm not saying you can't adapt another thought, that's not what I'm saying, but they were all Westerners in a sense. From a perspective of an African who was born and raised there, as far as they will be concerned, you're a Westerner. You know, you're over there. You know, yeah, we of course we're black, whatever but you're from over there. You're seeing it from a whole different perspective. And what I saw with them is that they were pushing this kind of idea of what spirituality is. Their idea, they were projecting their Western understanding of it onto the African, and I'm like, no, that's not. You can't then say that's African spirituality. And then I started raising the question: well, what is African spirituality? What is, you know, I'm trying to say, is there African spirituality? Is there European spirituality? Is there a Chinese, whatever, Asian, South American spirituality? Does it have to be divided, or aren't we doing the same thing, but we're just doing it in different ways? You know, that kind of thing. So, but I do get it. We go through these like awakening, but I think we do have to be kind of careful in terms of certain labels, certain words that we're using to articulate things or to express things, to bring certain understanding, because it's different. Because when I've gone to Nigeria, because every time, although I go for short periods of time, but when I go, I always try and spend as much time as I can with like the babalawos, with the women who are initiated into the mystery schools, the priesthoods, the priestesshoods, try and the thing is, sometimes, and this is one of the things, because I know like Ifa, for example, it's very, it's becoming like popular in the West. A lot of people are taking, and we know that through the transatlantic trade, it moved to places like Brazil, South America, or all of like these spiritual practices like Santeria, Palo Mayombe, they're all, extensions of like from the African. But the thing is I speak Yoruba. Now, when I say I speak it, I can't get lost. I understand the language well. Now, what I found with languages is there's always kind of two formats. And you find this in all languages. So you find so we're speaking English now. We're speaking everyday street English. That's the English that it's English. Yeah. But we're not speaking
Queen's English,
like Queen's English or that kind of proper grammar English. We're not speaking that. We understand it. I know that we will hear certain words and we know what that means, but we may not just put it in everyday words. Well, the same goes, that's across the board. Every country you go to, they will have like their main everyday language, and then they've got another language, which is, well, with the Yoruba, it's the same. They've got the Yoruba that I'm speaking. It's an everyday get by language. Everybody will understand it. Yeah, it's not lost. But when you go into like the Ifa system now, it drops. It's a total different level of Yoruba. And there's certain times I'm saying, Baba, explain that to me, because I need to get this. And I'm thinking to myself, hold on a minute. There's a whole Western world out there that thinks they've got this Ifa thing figured out. And I'm thinking, you ain't. Trust me. Because I'm thinking, I speak the goddamn language and I'm having trouble interpreting this and fully understanding this. And I've got to go. And it's just deeper levels.
Sure.
I'm trying to say. So no disrespect to obviously no one who doesn't speak Yoruba. I'm not saying you can grasp an idea of what it's about and how it's working. But there's also another level of it that it's almost like, and there's certain words. There's even certain words like when the man's described it, I'm thinking, we ain't got a word for that in English, bro. We don't have it. It can't cross over. So what you're gonna do, just like with all languages and translations, you pick the nearest thing. It's like in the Bible. It's like even when I was in that was another thing. Like when I was going through like my Judaic years and stuff like that. Growing up, obviously, more like predominantly kind of Christian background, went to Christian school and all that lot. Learned about Adam and Eve and there's a tree in the middle of the garden. There's the of the apple. When you go to the Hebrew and all that's like, what apple, bruv? There ain't no apples. You know what I'm trying to say? I remember like Rabbi used to tell me like apples. We don't have apples in that area of the world. That area of the world where they said that that's where it all happened, Middle East or wherever, whether you want to say it's Jerusalem, Egypt or whatever, apples don't grow there. So it wouldn't have been an apple. You know what I'm trying to say? And broken down the word. When you start breaking down the word now, you're thinking, it's not an apple, it's a fig. The translation is fig.
What you mean?
You know what I'm trying to say? So you really start losing translation. So we can start seeing now how certain things get lost or misinterpreted in translation. And I think that we're also in danger of that with a lot of this kind of ideologies